Colonialism is a shadow that looms large over history. A chapter marked by the exploitation of resources, the subjugation of indigenous people, and the erosion of cultures and identities. These are frequently discussed facts, but what is less often addressed is how profoundly the colonial legacy continues to affect the socio-economic and cultural fabric in former colonized communities. The effects of colonialism, that include social inequality, land dispossessions, poverty, political instability, and environmental degradation, resonate even until today in many countries that were colonized. The fact that Germany even has a colonial past is not too well known, even to Germans. In a 2019 poll regarding European perspectives of their colonial past, 30% of the Germans answered that they did not know anything about this part of German history. Not far from where we're holding this digital panel today, close to the Brandenburger Tor, the German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck in 1884 invited representatives from other European colonial powers to the Berlin Conference, where they claimed territories in Africa for themselves without any regard to the existing ethnic and cultural structures. Subsequently, the German colonial forces took control over territories in modern-day Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Namibia, Cameroon, Togo, and Ghana. People from the affected communities were forced to work on plantations and had to pay taxes to their colonial rulers. Indigenous uprisings, like the Maji Maji rebellion in Tanzania, were met with merciless violence. Similarly, in 1904, the German colonial forces dealt ruthlessly with the resistance of Herero and Nama people, as well as Damara and San communities in present-day Namibia. The German colonial forces murdered many resistance fighters on the spot. Others were forced into the desert, where many died of thirst or were imprisoned in concentration camps. Up to 100,000 people are estimated to have been killed, which mounts up to 80% of the Herero and 50% of the Nama population at the time. These killings are now considered the first genocide of the 20th century. And these events have left a lasting and profound legacy on the formerly colonized communities and their descendants that continues to affect them negatively in many ways. The scars of this era are still visible today, sparking the debate on what would be the necessary steps on a pathway towards healing and reconciliation. One concept that explores possible steps is the concept of restorative justice. From a legal perspective, restorative justice refers to a variety of different practices that include the acknowledgement and apology for past wrongdoings, the creation of awareness education, reconciliation, and repatriation of stolen artifacts, and finally, reparations. Reparations in terms of financial compensation are considered to be crucial for rectifying the vast socio-economic disparities created by colonialism and for the economic and social empowerment of the affected communities. The implementation, however, presents significant challenges that include the determination of the form, the recipients, the scale of compensation, and potential legal implications that might arise beyond the specific case. The debate on German colonial history has been long overshadowed by the events of the two world wars. However, through years of activism and protests from the descendants of the victims and their advocates, this chapter of German history is gaining more and more attention. In the last 20 years, dealing with this dark chapter of the colonial past is coming to the fore also in German debates. In fact, the current federal government of Germany has enshrined the goal of addressing its colonial history in the coalition agreement. It is evident from its recent talks with Namibia that Germany wants to come to terms with its colonial past through international and bilateral cooperation. In an initial 2021 joint declaration meant to facilitate reconciliation, the German and Namibian governments at the time declared that Germany would provide Namibia with €1.1 billion over the next 30 years. However, this amount is mostly intended for international cooperation programs, which sparks new debates and questions on the role of international cooperation regarding restorative justice. In fact, international cooperation itself is often criticized by some for potentially reproducing colonial hierarchies. With this in mind, we want to dive into the questions that look at how a pathway towards restorative justice in Namibia can succeed. What can be transferred to other countries with a German colonial history? And is bilateral development cooperation the right instrument to effectively foster restorative justice? In search of answers to these and other related questions, together with you and our guests, we will dig deeper into this relevant topic on the shadows of Germany's colonial past. Thank you for joining our discussion.